might be a really short episode. This is new. If you were with me yesterday, you heard me talking about this. This is only maybe the fourth painting that I have consciously done this new level, and we'll see if it sticks. Maybe, maybe not. I call it where I just push the color. So I'm using transparent. That's important. Transparent color. And I just want to exaggerate it wherever I can. Exaggerate is a good word. Now, of course, right there, I just wiped out some of my earlier painting because, you know, it was dark, the painting I did just a minute ago. But that's all right. So I've got a little bit of orange now. I just did yellow and yellow. Now I'm doing orange. Once again, I've wiped out some of my clipboard marks. But that's all right. And here again, I've got a dirty yellow. I'm using a fan brush partly just because I want to keep it fairly non-obtrusive. I don't want to undo a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, now I don't like how much yellow is there, so yes, I reserve the right, even though I'm all about exaggerating color right now, I reserve the right to come back and de-exaggerate it just a little bit. Now let's add a little tiny bit of Scarlet Lake, which is a transparent warm red for this part of this tree. And I like that. Again, reserve the right to come back and lift out just a tiny bit. You understand, don't you, that when you apply paint and then lift it out, it does not have it's not the same as if you hadn't done it. It leaves, it leaves a residue, which is usually very pleasant. Okay, a little bit of permanent rose, getting a little bit more gutsy down here. Now, one of the effects that this has on the painting, of course, is that I'm darkening the whole thing because I'm using transparent color. So I'm leaving the whole painting a little bit darker than it was just a few minutes ago, and that means I'm going to have to compensate in a few minutes. In fact, I did this on yesterday's painting when you guys didn't even see me. I had to do it by myself. I need to move you out of the way just a little bit, but I think this might be a good thing. I was going to mention that as I was thinking about this stage, this new layer of mine, this new phase of pushing the color. Another way to describe my painting life is that I am not a natural color person. I'm not a colorist. I do remember one of the few really good things I got in college, ironically, was not from the professors, but was from looking at other students. And I discovered at that time that some students, and they were like me, they were fairly beginner painters, but they really had a knack just for, can I say, throwing down color. They would put one color down, mix something up, and put it down next to it, and it always looked good. Like, wow, how do you do that? I, on the other hand, well, about 20 years ago when I was a freelance illustrator, I had a fellow artist tell me in a moment of unusual candor, but it was hilarious. A fellow artist, he said, "Dan, your favorite colors are gray and brown." No, I was not offended because he was telling the truth. It was hilarious. I laughed. I still laugh, as you can hear. Your favorite colors are gray and brown. Because that, in fact, is sort of my natural tendency. I'm a really muted color kind of guy. Maybe you can tell today, I don't know. But a lot of the technique that I use now in my painting is, in fact, a coping mechanism, a compensating for the fact that I am not a natural color person. So I've come up with this technique of layers of transparent in order to cope and compensate for this tendency. Now, by the way, not to be confusing, when he said that, he was not referring to my Maxfield Parrish influenced stuff. So I did, besides that, Maxfield Parrish, I did rather traditional watercolors and so forth. And yeah, I tend to prefer in my natural state, evidently, I tend to prefer a very muted canvas, a very muted palette, I should say. So a lot of what you're seeing, including what I'm doing right now, is compensating for. I'm doing a little purple right now. A little purple over here. And a little yellow over here. I should say a lot of yellow. That's way too much. Happiness is being able to wipe stuff off. Now, another comment here. People often ask me, why do you like oils instead of acrylic? So this is why. What you're looking at right now, you can't do this with. I mean, virtually, you cannot do this with acrylics. Okay, now here's an interesting. Again, I just discovered this afresh. This is a new step for me, this pumping the color. But the very next step that I'm going to go to, I'm going to break here in a minute, but the very next step that I'm going to do is a very sweet counterpart or counterpoint to what I just did. The next step, which is I've been doing for about 7 months. Happiness, by the way, happiness as an artist is learning new stuff and incorporating. Most of the stuff is just accidents you stumble on. Sometimes you can learn things from you can learn things from classes, but most of the great stuff I've learned has just been by painting. Anyway, the next layer that I've been doing for 6 months is the fuzz layer. Perfect counterpart. It's sort of what I just did, except instead of transparent, it's going to be opaque, light. So it's going to lighten things up a good bit. And yeah, I can tackle that here. I don't need to go home and do that. Okay, has anybody left any comments? Let me look here real quick. Hello, Toby. Good to have you back, man. What time is it where you are? Don't answer that. I'm about to hang up on you. Answer that in just a few minutes. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll be back in just a bit.